Namaste, beloveds. This is Mother Wit, Valerie Ames, Ocean 9. And this is a very powerful time. And I've been receiving downloads nonstop. And the information that is received is mind blowing. It is generational healing. It is out of the realm of conditioned thinking and programming. It is a new form of conscious awareness, all on its own, even to sit and to hold sacred space for it, and to realizing that you are anchoring this conscious awareness in this incarnated form at this present time, and understanding all of what that holds and how holy it is to be able to hold it, to be able to grasp it mentally, intellectually, physically, and psychologically. And in saying that, I'm just going to um, go forward. Um, and today is June 2nd, and I was given the mathematics of this as June 2nd equals the sixth month. I'm sorry, this is the seventh month. This is July plus 2 equals 9. Let me look at this again, because, beloveds, I was given, I guess I'm being shown the transformation, the transitions, is what I'm being told. The transitions into from June until into July. Beloveds, this is not rehearsed. This is coming live. So let me just take a moment again to ground myself, because the ego, which is logic, human intellect, human intellectual identity, understanding, framework, wants to manage and control this frequency, this download, and wisdom, which is existence, is not allowing that to happen. So there is an internal struggle with the frequencies. So you're going to witness that interplay in this video, because this is what is going on. Any energy currents themselves in the vortex in this presence, in this present moment. It is what it is. I've turned off my air conditioner so that you can hear me, and I've closed my door, also so that to limit the noise frequencies. So everything is a little bit dry and a little bit humid right now, but I am getting acclimated, so to speak. So just bear with me for a moment, beloveds, while I get myself together. Um, this isn't putting on a show or anything. This is actually grounding and getting ready to um, relay this information as best I can. Um, and that word relay is very powerful and very influential in the information that is about to be exchanged. Okay, here we go. Um, and beloveds, I'm being told because, like I said, I wrote this down as being the month of June. And as I was getting ready to present it, it was revealed that it is the month of July. So there's a difference between 6 and 7. There is what I'm receiving in the numerical realms, and I'm not that versed on numerology, so please excuse me. And please understand that everything that I'm sharing, you need to research for yourself, because this is not a teaching per se. This is a sharing of what I've received and what I'm going to digest and process and analyze and ingest and take all the wise bits for myself. It's being shared. It's a meal to be shared. It's a frequency that I am sharing with you. Um, and again, like I said, this isn't rehearsed, so you don't know how long took me to sit here and put on all this stuff and then fidget with it, trying to get it to look right, because logic said you got to look right, you got to present it right, you got to look right, look. And beloveds, sitting here, this is not about a look. So let me move forward. And like I said, as I am weaving this, there's so much. This is logic and wisdom, logic and wisdom, logic and wisdom. The banter between, the interplay being displayed so that you can see it for what it is. Because it is not um, mine alone. This is the process. This is the interplay that goes on. This is the dialogue that happens. And the more conscious we are of what the dialogue is and where what frequencies the dialogues are between, the more we can expand in our existence, in our current existence, in our current conscious awareness state. So, like I said, this isn't going to be all prim and proper. And again, that's logic dictating to wisdom how it should look. And wisdom is just saying, just let it flow. Just let it flow. So I am going to shut logic up and I am just going to let it flow. Okay? Again, the numbers and the months. June and July. June into July has significant seasonal frequency reference within the Akashic records of wisdom. Okay? 6 moving into 7. 6 expanding itself into the realm of 7. 7 expanding itself into the realm of 8. 8 expanding itself into the realm of 9. Beloveds, those are all single digits. And then you get to 9, and what do? you go into 10, which is a double digit, which is an expression of duality. You now have two numbers representing themselves in a harmony, in a frequency, in a blending, in an attraction, in a union of their two separate wisdom vibrations. So this is change. And this is why I'm being shown this. And this is why it's coming the way it's coming right now. This is the way it was written when it was written. And this is where it is right now. So I'm just going to give it to you the way it was written. And then you upgrade it. June the 2nd equals 6 plus 2 equals 8. 2020 equals 4. 8 plus 4 equals 12. 12, when you use the 1 and 2, equals 3. Now, since this is July the 2nd, okay, so that's 7 plus 2 equals 9. The year is still 2024. That stays the same. But now you have 9 plus 4, which is 13, which is 4. So, beloveds, those numbers are powerful signs and symbols as to what is taking place, as to what ciphers are taking place, as to what seasons are taking place, as to what phases we are entering into as an age, as a collective, and as individuals. You cannot separate them. This is the wisdom of existence. You cannot separate them. Logic wants to subtract itself from wisdom and be the highest frequency. That is a no-no. Okay, let me keep going. We'll get there. And this was a prayer, beloveds. As an expanding frequency of light, I call upon all regenerative, restorative, resilient forms of light to teach me their ways of being, so that I, as a sovereign individual, may reflect from the highest aspect and apex of my spiritual existence, no matter the conscious state in which I reside, from present moment to the next changing moment. Amen. So it is, I hope. Tiamat, the stone that the builders refused, is wisdom. Wisdom is instinct. Marduk represents logic, who is ego. Logic is ego. Wisdom is instinct. Was set as the greatest source of existence. Energy / wisdom frequency cannot be destroyed. It can only be broken down into smaller frequencies and dispersed throughout the universe as logic dictates. Beloveds, again, the oldest story that exists in our current age is the Sumerian story of Tiamat. Tiamat being the female dragon. Marduk being the being that destroyed her. And Marduk, from what I'm receiving right now, the way I'm receiving this is to pay attention to the words. Pay attention to the stories. Pay attention to the signs. Pay attention to the symbols, because these are the frequencies that are most important at this time to help refreshing, regenerate, restore wisdom into her proper place. Okay. Energy, which is wisdom, that frequency. I want you to understand that wisdom is a frequency. It's a collective frequency. Okay. And it cannot be destroyed. It can only be broken down into smaller frequencies and dispersed throughout the universe as logic dictates. This is what the Sumerian story is all about. From that story came every other creation story that we have access to from that Akashic records. Okay? And let's move forward. Think of all your epic sagas, all your fairy tales, all your myths, all your archetypes, all your philosophies, all your sciences, all your math, all your geometry. Now relate wisdom to the story of the Iron Giant. Research the Iron Age. Research what iron means in the blood of human beings. Understand that the blood is life. Understand that the largest ingredient in the blood is water, and that water forms the plasma and so forth and so on. Let me keep going. Again, beloveds, you have to understand what we're talking about. I want you to understand the word flood, flooding, flow, and frequency. Very powerful right now. Very important right now. Very vital to the nurturance and the nutrition of your conscious awakening and awareness in this now moment. 2, we're moving on from that. We've made that point. We're going to the second point, the Rosetta Stone. The philosophy of the rose as a cornerstone when building any foundation. And I'm going to pause this for one moment, just because I printed out some stuff and I need to get that. So, for one moment. Okay, beloveds. What I'm getting ready to read right now came from Job chapter 38, 39. Job chapter 38 all the way, I believe, till 41 or 42. Beloveds, this is coming from the Message Bible. This is the Message Bible translation that I am reading. Please understand that Genesis is not the first book in the Bible chronologically, okay? The first book of the Bible is Job. From the chronological age, the first book of the Bible is Job, okay? And if you do not have the understanding of Job and you try to read that Bible from Genesis as the beginning, you're going to misinterpret a lot. You're going to be receiving that information from the revelation of Adam and Eve and not before. Before that was Job. Before that serpent came down and began talking with Adam and Eve, there was Job. And this is God confronting Job. And again, beloveds, I urge you to read the story of Job in the context of wisdom and not logic. And let's get to it. God confronts Job. And this was a big storm, beloveds. And you think of God and Job being taken to the eye of the storm. Okay, and outside of this sacred place that is being held, chaos is brewing. Chaos is in a storm. Okay, outside of this eye is the storm. Hurricanes, tornadoes, monsoons, tsunamis, earthquakes, volcanoes erupting, blah, 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 blah. All hell is busting loose. Okay? But in this sacred space right here, Job and God are having a conversation. God is confronting Job. Now, we've already said that we're going to break it down this way. God is existence. Existence is wisdom. So wisdom, the wisdom of existence, is having this conversation with Job. Job represents the logic of man. Let's move. God confronts Job. Have you gotten to the bottom of things? In other words, do you think you figured it out yet? All that you've been going through, all this rememorating, like I said, get into the story of Job and you'll understand. Job is called one of the greatest Orientalists. That means wisdom was one of his greatest frequencies. He was a firstborn son of wisdom herself. That is why she is speaking with him now. Have you gotten to the bottom of things? And now, chapter 38. Finally, God answered Job from the eye of the violent storm, and he said, "Why do you confuse the issue? Why do you talk without knowing what you're talking about? Pull yourself together, Job. Up on your feet. Stand tall. I have some questions for you. And I want some straight answers. Where were you when I created the earth? Tell me, since you know so much." Remember, beloveds, this conversation is between wisdom and logic. Who decided on its size? Certainly, you'll know that. Who came up with the blueprints and the measurements? How was its foundation poured? And who set the cornerstone? While the morning stars sang the chorus, and all the angels shouted praise. And who took charge of the ocean when it gushed forth like a baby from the womb? That was me. I wrapped it in soft clouds and tucked it safely at night. Tucked it safely in at night. Tucked it in safely at night. Then I made a playpen for it, a strong playpen, so that it couldn't run loose, and said, stay here. This is your place. I want you to understand what is being handed down to you. The baton that is being passed to you as a sovereign being is wisdom. And wisdom is explaining how she created everything. And what earth is. Earth is the playpen that she gave logic. So that it couldn't run loose. Did you hear that? Earth is the playpen of logic so that it couldn't run loose in the rest of the universe. And she said, stay here, this is your place. Your wild tantrums are confined to this place. Do you hear me? 12, verses 12 through 15 of chapter 38 of Job. And have you ever ordered morning? Get up. Told dawn, get to work. So you could seize earth like a blanket and shake out the wicked like cockroaches. Baby, read you some Job. When that arrogance get in you and you get to thinking you know everything, baby, see yourself as Job and have this conversation. And have you ever ordered morning, get up, told dawn, get to work, so you could seize earth like a blanket and shake out the wicked like cockroaches? As the sun brings everything to light, brings out all the colors and shapes, the cover of darkness is snatched from the wicked. They're caught in the very act. Have you ever gotten to the true bottom of things? Explored the labyrinthine caves of deep ocean? Tell me, do you know the first thing about death? Do you have one clue regarding death's dark mysteries? And do you have any idea how large the earth is? Speak up. If you have even the beginning of an answer, tell me. Tell me, Mr. Logic. Tell me, human being. Tell me, Mr. Know-it-all. Do you know where light comes from and where darkness lives? So you can take them by the hand and lead them home when they get lost. Why, of course, you know that. You've known them all your life. Grown up in the same neighborhood with them. Have you ever traveled to where snow is made? Not where it is, but where it is made. Have you seen the vault where hail is stockpiled? the arsenals of hail and snow that I keep in readiness. Listen at wisdom speaking, y'all. For times of trouble and battle and war. The arsenals of hail and snow that I keep in readiness for times of trouble, battle, and war. Can you find your way to where lightning is launched, or to the place where from which the wind blows? Who do you suppose carves canyons for the downpours of rain and charts the route of the thunderstorms that bring water to unvisited fields, deserts no one ever lays eyes on, drenching the useless wastelands so they're carpeted with wildflowers and grass? Tell me, who do you think is the father of rain and dew, the mother of ice and frost? You don't for a minute imagine these marvels of weather just happen, do you? Tell me. Job 31, Job 38, verse 31 through 33. Can you catch the eye of the beautiful Pleiades sisters? Can you? Or can you distract Orion from his hunt? We've been talking about Nimrod. Can you get Venus to look your way? Or get the Great Bear and her cubs to come out and play? Do you know the first thing about the skies, constellations, and how they affect things on earth? Job chapter 38, verse 34 through 35. Can you get the attention of the clouds and commission a shower of rain? Can you take charge of the lightning bolts and have them report to you for orders? Well, Job, what do you say for yourself? Well, logic, what do you say for yourself? For because without wisdom, Job 38, 36 through 38. What do you think gave weather wisdom to the ibis and storm savvy to the rooster? Does anyone know enough to number all the clouds or tip over the rain barrels of heaven when the earth is cracked and dry, the ground baked hard as a brick? Tell me, can you teach the lioness to stalk her prey and satisfy the appetites of her cubs as they crouch in their den, waiting hungrily in their cave? And who sets out food for the ravens when their young cry to God, fluttering about because they have no food? Baby, y'all better pay attention to this hip hop. And chapter 39 of Job, verses 1 through 4. Here we go. It asks, do you know the month when mountain goats give birth? Have you ever watched a doe bear her fawn? Do you know how many months she is pregnant? Do you know the season of her delivery? When she crouches down and drops her offspring, her young ones flourish and are soon on their own. They leave and don't come back. Job chapter 39, verses 5 through 8. Who do you think set the wild donkey free? Open the corral gates and let him go. I gave him the whole wilderness to roam in, the rolling plains and the open wide places. He laughs at his silly cousins who are harnessed and harried in captivity. He's oblivious to the cries of teamsters. He grazes freely through the hills, nibbling anything that's green. Baby, you better read that and look at the metaphors. You better understand the signs, the seasons, and the ciphers in just that alone. Chapter 39 of Job, verse 9 through 12. Will the wild buffalo condescend to serve you? Volunteer to spend the night in your barn? Can you imagine hitching your plow to a buffalo and getting him to till your fields? He's hugely strong, yes, but could you trust him? Would you dare turn the job over to him? You wouldn't for a minute depend on him, would you? To do what you said when you said it. Think about that, baby. Think about what that buffalo symbolizes, that bull. And think about if wisdom would give total free dominion and reign to humankind over what she's created as the universe. She just said she made a playpen for you to sit in and have your tantrums. Baby, this, like I said, this is coming through so powerful to me, beloveds. It is just, whew, it is so good. It is just so good. It's aligning. It's freeing. It's showing you what unconditional love is. Unconditional love sets that child in that playpen and say, I'm going to put this in there with you, and you can tear that up. But all around my house, you ain't going to tear up my house. You got that playpen. That's your area. You go ahead. Go buck wild up in there. That's wisdom. That's mama. That's unconditional. That's not saying, I'm leaving you by yourself. That's not saying, you're a motherless child. That's saying, I know you, I see you. You had this playpen. You gonna be all right. I'm gonna keep my eye on you. But you go ahead. But you're not gonna tear up my house. Job chapter 39, verse 13 through 18. The ostrich flaps her wings futilely, as all those beautiful feathers, but useless. She lays her eggs on the hard ground, leaves them there in the dirt, exposed to the weather, not caring that they might get stepped on, or cracked, or trampled by some wild animal. She's negligent with her young, as if they weren't even hers. She cares nothing about anything. She wasn't created very smart, that's for sure. Wasn't given her share of good sense. And when she runs, oh baby, how she runs, laughing, leaving horse and rider in the dust. You better meditate on that. You better understand what is being said to you. You better ask for the revelations in that ostrich and them feathers, baby. that just be fluttering and are so beautiful and so big and fluffy and pretty, but useless when it comes to flying. And here you have this big old bird laying her eggs, not caring about them, just dropping it like it's hot, and out running horse and rider and everything else, and ain't giving a damn. Job chapter 39, verse 19 through 25. And you, the one who gave the horse his prowess, are you the one who gave the horse his prowess and adorned him with a shimmering mane? Did you create him to prance proudly and strike terror with his royal snorts? He paws the ground fiercely, eager and spirited, then charges into the fray. He laughs at danger, fearless. Don't shy away from the sword. Doesn't shy away from the sword. The banging and clanging of quiver and lance don't faze him. He quivers with excitement and at the trumpet blast races off at a gallop. And the sound of the trumpet, at the sound of the trumpet, he neighs mightily, smelling the excitement of battle from a long way off, catching the rolling thunder of the war cries. Verse 26 through 30. Was it through your know-how that the hawk learned to fly? Soaring effortlessly on thermal updrafts. Tell me, Job. Tell me, logic. Tell me, reason. Tell me, man. Tell me, know-it-all. Did you command the eagle's flight and teach her to build her nest in the heights? Perfectly at home on the high cliff face, invulnerable of pinnacle and crag, from her perch she searches for prey, spies it at a great distance. Her young gorges themselves on carrion. Wherever there's a roadkill, you'll see her circling. Powerful. I'm going to pause this because my battery is getting low, which I'm not surprised because frequency energy is whoop off the chain right now. So just give me a minute, beloveds. Okay, beloveds, let's get back into it. Job, again, chapter 40. And once again, I advise you to understand that Job is chronologically the first book of the Bible. It is not Genesis. So before you can process your way through Genesis, I suggest you read Job to get the full understanding of who Adam and Eve knew themselves to be and who they were. Okay, let's keep going forward. This is Job chapter 40. And again, this is God confronting Job with the knowledge that he thinks he has, with the logic that he thinks he has, in his understanding of who he is as a being. Chapter 40, verse 1 through 2. God then confronted Job directly. Now, what do you have to say for yourself? Are you going to haul me, the mighty one, into court and press charges? Now remember, Job has been told by his wife and his friends that he need to curse God for all the things that have happened to him. His children died. He lost his fortune. His body got sick with all these boils and all these other things upon it. And Job just removed himself from everybody and went and sat and had broken clay pots, putting it on pieces of his body that was oozing pus and all of this pain and all of this misery and suffering. And here's his wife, closest things to him, his wife and his best friends saying, Job, you just need to curse God and die. And Job, being Job, with this understanding that if this is, who am I to question God? If this is what God has handed me to endure, then this is what I'm going to sit here and I'm going to endure. I'm not going to curse God and die. I'm not going to curse that part of myself. I'm not going to deny that part of myself and die. See, we have well-meaning people that think they know things. And sometimes their logic sounds plausible. It sounds good. It sounds comforting. But baby, that logic ain't the right thing for you and your spirit when you know who you are. Let's read that again. And that's Job chapter 40, verse 1 and 2. God then confronted Job directly. Now, what do you have to say for yourself? Are you going to haul me, the mighty one, into court and press charges? And then in verses 3 through 5, beloveds, Job reasons with himself. And he has meditated over everything, all these questions and this confrontation and all of this frequency and energies and everything. And he puts it all on the table and he looks at it and he speaks from his heart. And he says in Job chapter 40, verses 3 through 5, Job answered, I'm speechless, in awe. Words fail me. I should never have opened my mouth. I've talked too much, way too much. I'm ready to shut up and listen. And then God's second set of questions begin. And understand these questions go deeper than the first ones that just hit the surface. Brace yourself. Or as they say in the hood, check yourself, fool. God gets ready to put forth his second set of questions to Job. Wisdom does. And she says, I want straight answers. So don't come along with no bullshit, Job. Don't come along with no logic. Don't give me no condition what you done heard. Well, so and so said this, and what happened was, and nah, I don't want none of that. So you say you gonna shut up and you gonna listen? Give it to me plain. I want these answers straight up and plain. They ain't gotta be all fancy. They ain't gotta be sung at no special note. They don't need no choir pastor to play in the amens. Just give it to me. I want straight answers. Job chapter 40, verses 6 through 7. God addressed Job next from the eye of the storm. Did you hear that? We have moved to the eye of the storm with this set of questions. So understand the pressure has changed. The temperatures have changed. The velocity and direction of the winds have changed. But we're sitting in the eye. Do you presume to tell me what I'm doing wrong? Are you calling me a sinner so you can be a saint? This is wisdom addressing logic, okay? Don't be fooled. What did Solomon say? In all things, baby, get wisdom. Bump that gold and silver and diamonds and pearl, baby. Get you some wisdom. Do you presume to tell me what I'm doing wrong? Are you calling me a sinner so you can be a saint? Do you have an arm? My jiggly wiggly fat arm, I ain't. Tell me, do you have an arm like my arm? Can you shout in thunder the way I can? Go ahead, show your stuff. Let's see what you're made of, what you can do. Unleash your outrage. Target the arrogant and lay them flat. Stop the wicked in their tracks. Make mincemeat of them. Dig a mass grave and dump them in it. Faceless corpses in an unmarked grave. I'll gladly step aside and hand things over to you. You can surely save yourself with no help from me. Verses 15 through 24. Look at the land beast, Behemoth. And remember, beloveds, this is in the time of the dinosaurs, okay? I created him as well as you. Grazing on grass, docile as a cow. Just look at the strength of his back, the powerful muscles of his belly. His tail sways like a cedar in the wind. His huge legs are like beech trees. His skeleton is made of steel. Every bone in his body is hard as steel. Most magnificent of all my creatures. The behemoth, beloveds, was the mammoth. And Job says, most magnificent of all my creatures, but still I lead him around like a lamb. The grass-covered hills serve him meals, while field mice frolic in his shadow. He takes afternoon naps under shade trees, cools himself in the reedy swamps, lazily cool in the leafy shadows as the breeze moves through the willows. And when the river rages, he doesn't budge. Stolid, and unperturbed, even when the Jordan goes wild. But you never want him for a pet. You'd never be able to housebreak him. Job chapter 41. Wisdom, let him know I run the universe. Job chapter 41, verse 1 through 11. Tell me, or can you pull in the sea beast, the Leviathan, with a fly rod and stuff him in your creel? Can you lasso him with a rope or snag him with an anchor? Will he beg you over and over for mercy or flatter you with flowery speech? Will he apply for a job with you, to run errands and serve you the rest of your life? Tell me, will you play with him as if he were a pet goldfish? Will you make him the mascot of the neighborhood children? Will you put him on display in the market and have shoppers haggle over the price? Could you shoot him full of arrows like a pin cushion and drive harpoons into his wild head? If you so much as lay a hand on him, you won't live to tell the story. What hope would you have with such a creature? Why, one look at him would do you in. If you can't hold your own against his glowering visage, how then? How then do you expect to stand up to me? Don't you let your friends and your wives and your husbands and all of that. Logic ain't it, boo-boo. You better get on the side of wisdom. I'm in charge of all this. I run this universe. Job chapter 40, verse 12 through 17. But I've more to say about Leviathan, the sea beast. His enormous bulk, his beautiful shape. Who would even dream of piercing that tough skin or putting those jaws into bit and bridle? And who would dare knock at the door of his mouth, filled with row upon row of fierce teeth? His pride is invincible. Nothing can make a dent in that pride. Nothing can get through that proud skin. Impervious to weapons and weather, the thickest and toughest of hides, impenetrable. So baby, wisdom is letting you know that you can make some shit with your technology, and you can do all of this other stuff and think you big and bad. But baby, vengeance belongs to God. And when we put it upon ourselves to think we're going to go do something and make somebody pay, or we get in our pride, or we let our ego rule us, like I said, we don't realize we in the playpen. We forget. We forget that mama will come over there and shake that playpen and everything up in it and set it straight. Chapter 40 of Job, verse 18 through 34. He snorts, and the world lights up with fire. He blinks, and the dawn breaks. Comets pour out of his mouth. Fireworks arc and branch. Smoke erupts from his nostrils like steam from a boiling pot. He blows and fires blaze. Flames of fire stream from his mouth. All muscle he is, sheer and seamless muscle. To meet him is to dance with death. Sinewy and lithe. There's not a soft spot on his entire body. And tough inside is out, rock hard and vulnerable. Even angels run for cover when he surfaces. Did you hear that? Wisdom made something that even the angels run from when he surfaces. So understand what depth is. How deep is your love? Baby, you got to understand unconditional before you can even penetrate the thought. Even angels run for cover when he surfaces, cowering before his tail thrashing turbulence. Javelins bounce harmlessly off his hide. Harpoons ricochet wildly. Iron bars are so much straw to him. Bronze weapon beneath notice. Arrows don't even make him blink. Bullets make no impression. They make no more impression than raindrops. A battle axe is nothing but a splinter of kindling. He treats a brandished harpoon as a joke. His belly is armor-plated, inexorable, unstoppable as a barge. He roils deep ocean the way you boil water. He whips the sea like you'd whip an egg into batter. With a luminous tail stretching out behind him, you might think ocean had grown a gray beard. There's nothing on this earth quite like him. Do you research? Do you research on what was just shared with you? On what that was, metaphoric, spiritually. Not an ounce of fear in that creature. He surveys all the high and mighty, king of the ocean, king of the deep. Job chapter 42. God worships Job. God worships God. Job worships God. Chapter 42. Job 42 is a 7. Job worships God. I babbled on about things far beyond me. Job chapter 42, verse 1 through 6. Job answered God, I'm convinced you can do anything and everything. Nothing and no one can upset your plans. You asked, Who is this muddying the water, ignorantly confusing the issue, second guessing my purposes? I admit it. I was the one. I babbled on about things far beyond me, made small talk about wonders way over my head. You told me, listen, and let me do the talking. Let me ask the questions. You give the answers. I admit, I once lived by rumors of you. Now I have it all firsthand from my own eyes and ears. I'm sorry. Forgive me. I'll never do that again. I promise. I'll never again live on crusts of hearsay and crumbs of rumor. Do you understand what Job just did? Job just acknowledged that all the logic he had, and with all the reason he had, and with all the knowing, and with all the trophies and accolades and wealth and every how high he was in the esteem of everybody else, he couldn't touch wisdom. Couldn't touch her. Could not touch the foundations that she put in place. And everything that he was told and experienced from that advantage point that got him where he was before he had this conversation right here with God was nothing compared to the actual conversation, the actual experience, the actual fact that you actually have to answer these questions. How logic sees itself as so vast and so extensive, but when compared to wisdom, is quite small. Is itself the child, and wisdom is the mother, is the infant child at that, having tantrums, terrible twos. I'm God. You ain't God. You ain't make me. I made myself. My will, not yours. I ain't got to listen to you. Who is you? Numbers. Baby. Job, God restores Job. I will accept his prayer. Chapter 42, verse 7 through 8. After God had finished addressing Job, understand, addressing, adding dressing to him, adding layers of clothes, adding layers of skin, adding layers of more wisdom to what he thought he had knew. After God had finished addressing Job, he turned to Eliphaz the Temanite and said, I've had it with you and your two friends. I'm fed up You haven't been honest either with me or about me, not the way my friend Job has. So here's what you must do: take 7 bulls and 7 rams and go to my friend Job. Sacrifice a burnt offering on your own behalf. My friend Job will pray for you, and I will accept his prayer. He will ask me not to treat you as you deserve for talking nonsense about me and for not being honest with me as he has. Hold on one moment, beloveds. Ooh, it got hot. Okay, beloveds. Sorry about that. It got a little hot. And let me turn this air back off. There we go. And I needed a drink of water. So here we go. Let's dig back into it. Wisdom is the big head. Logic is the heel or the little head. And Spirit said to do your research on the Ouroboros, which is the snake eating its own tail, and understanding what it's saying by that. The tail is the heel or the end, and the head is the head. And so when you have the two of them come together, the actual head eating the tail, it also forms a 0. So it's a sign of infinity because of that. Okay, let me keep going. No matter the course, logic must always defer to wisdom as its mother. It cannot separate itself from her. It cannot, by its own existence, deny her existence as a higher frequency, as the original frequency, as the firstborn frequency of existence. Thus the name Mother Wit Wisdom, this vessel of existence received as a foundation / cornerstone upon which to build up upon the question, who am I? And beloveds, I've explained before, Motherhood Wisdom was a spiritual name that was given to me by Spirit. It is not a name which I would have chosen for myself, because I would have been Princess Unicorn, Smiley, Sparkly, Diva, who knows what, okay? But Spirit gave me the name Mother with Wisdom. And it carries its own frequency with it. It carries a frequency of mother wit, which is common sense, made plain, simple, most basic. not big and fancy at all. So, and then you have it paired with the word wisdom. So you have simple wisdom, simple, divine, feminine wisdom. And that is what I have been sharing with you from the best of my ability since I began this journey of who am I, spiritually speaking, and this divine journey that I'm on to discover that, and just sharing everything that I've been going through with you. The poetry, the writings, the sayings, everything. And as we are a collective, everything is connected. Nothing is separate. And this is the way of wisdom. This is the will of wisdom. This is the worth of wisdom. It is the unity. It is the connection. It is the acknowledgement. Okay. This being the conscious awareness of this incarnation as myself, arriving / maturing / ripening in the age of Aquarius. Re-entry to the womb, ground zero, recognizing the greater frequency as the whole and not the speaking of wisdom and logic, being one parent, not two. So the child no longer has to choose between wisdom as its mother or logic as its father, because it is consciously aware that it is born and reborn from the sacred union of their sacred alchemy as the Song of Songs, the King of Kings, the one verse, the word, God. God cannot exist without wisdom. Wisdom shouts from the marketplace. That's a scripture found in Proverbs from Solomon, who asked for wisdom to be his gift, and it was granted. What does that mean? It means that whatever logic has combined and contrived and given birth to, wisdom is also there within it. Just like we read Job, and God was asking Job all those questions. Where were you when this was done? Where were you when that was done? Where were you? Where were you? Who are you? What part did you have in it? You have to understand that you are part of existence, part of what has no beginning and has no ending. That is your first identification. And your being born or incarnating as a spirit into a body has caused you to logically forget the wisdom of your frequency. And now, with the age of Aquarius coming back around, we are being upgraded to once again understand and understand and receive this divine wisdom, this divine frequency of wisdom is upgrading us and letting us know that we are a part of this wisdom and what life, which is existence, is all about, and that we have never been separate from it, and that this divine feminine, this mother, has never left us. We have never been alone. No matter how much we have suffered, she has always had us in the best position because of the way we are designed. Let me keep going. Wisdom is also there in the midst, not hidden, not silent, not covered, not unseen, not hidden in plain sight or hindsight. She has always been there. Her presence is here now, and she will always be so, because she exists even in the non-existence of potential frequencies yet to be born or incarnate. The race, the goal, is only one achieved, obtained when it is grouped, when it is grasped, sorry, my writing, when it is grasped by the conscious awareness of the individual and expanded as the collective and endured or enlivened or endured as the collective. As above, so below, as inside, so outside, as the macrocosm, so the microcosm. One is reborn whole and holy. Write it down so the children may know. Know thyself as Neo. Neo plus Trinity equals paradise. Para, P-A-R-A, means by. Dice or dies is God. Produce fruit, be fruitful and multiply. Okay, that was that portion. The last portion of this is about the 5G energy and how we are actually killing existence, or how our logic has once again brought us to try to expand upon using technology that goes beyond wisdom. So what we're doing is we're pitting technology against divine wisdom. We're saying that we have arrived at that place. We are Job, and wisdom is having this conversation with us. Who are you? And we are saying, oh, we've got this 5G technology. We are you. We are creators. We are gods. We're doing this. And like I said, Mama is letting us know, you are in a playpen, you are a child, and I'm overseeing all of this, and you better recognize. And so here we go. 5G, cell phone frequency. My cell phone, I have been aware that I'm receiving shocks. I can feel the actual little zaps or the energies that is coming out of my cell phone lately. And it's coming out as a frequency that's shocking, and my hands are on fire. And so I'm sitting here with this knowledge, and it hasn't stopped me from sitting here playing games on the phone or doing whatever on the phone. And I'm sitting here, and today it all just dawned on me. Because, like I said, I woke up, and last night I didn't turn my phone completely off. I just turned it off, but I didn't power it down or power it off. And I woke up this morning, and my whole body, was out of alignment. My whole body was so achy, I could barely move. I could barely, it hurt to think, okay? It hurt to say, ow. And so I'm sitting here and I'm praying, and I'm asking, what is all of this pain about? Because pain is a symptom. Pain is a teacher. Pain will tell you what is wrong if you listen to it, if you allow yourself to be still enough so that you can listen to it. Allow your pain to teach you and talk to you and tell you what's going on and understand it. And so what my pain taught me was that it's the damn cell phone. This cell phone is sending out frequencies, electrical charges that you cannot see with your physical eyes, but that your flesh can feel. Your flesh is absorbing. Your cells are absorbing this energy, and it's disrupting your nervous system. And that is what is causing the pain. And you need to address this on so many different levels. And I'm sitting here like, wow, that's deep. That's deep. The cell phone is doing this. And then I got to thinking about the 5G towers and everything that they're putting up all over the places. And what has been happening to these birds exploding all over the place or falling out of the sky and dying, just fields of them, and the different fish that are coming up out of the water dead and floating all over the place, and the whales and dolphins beaching themselves, and all of this. And it all went back to frequency. It all went back to being able to see that baby through the ultrasound and understanding what the sound and the nervous system is. The nerves, this is the way Spirit gave it to me. I'm going to break it down for you. The nerves equal the circulatory system. The circulatory system equals the heart. The heart equals the system in the body which deals with our feelings, which influences our logic, and the heart is the mother organ of the body, okay? The heart is the mother organ of the body. The heart in the chakra system is green. It is the middle road or middle way that connects the higher with the lower chakras and the higher chakras. The heart is what connects the head and the body. So the heart is what connects logic and wisdom. And so when you have something disrupting your circulatory system, your nervous system, the way you feel and think and put things together, you have to understand this is what the chaos that we're seeing around us and outside of us in the world right now. Because the heart is at that place where it's being attacked and affected by this 5G technology that human logic dictates that we need above the wisdom of the natural cycle and flow that the indigenous ones have taught us and given us over the ages. How to connect the land with the sea and the sun and the seasons and the moon cycles and a woman's moon cycles and the way of things, the flow of things. Logic is dictating, no, we want it Wi-Fi, we want it in a hurry, we want to mass produce. This is greed. This is overloading and corroding the circulatory system. We can see just by the COVID incidents and us being locked in the house and not putting out so much frequency that the earth herself is regenerating and healing on so many different levels, from the water to the plants to the animals to ourselves, even the air that we're breathing. All of this is regenerating, and everything that wisdom has created is able to heal itself. It is only the logic that dictates against the healing. And we listen to the logic, just like Job listening to his friends. All of this is interconnected and correlated, and that's why it's coming through this way, in this download. Okay, let me keep going. Also, if you disrupt that frequency, various stages of death occur. The circulatory system, which comes from the heart and regulates the heart, is about life. Your heart pumping keeps life going. Without your heart pumping, you get no oxygen to your brain. You get no blood going through the different cells. If you're dying on a cellular level, you're dying. Death is following. Cancer, all kinds of diseases. This is all frequency from various stages of death. And from slow to fast, cancer to birds and fish exploding from the inside out or breathing themselves. I don't know what that means. They just wrote down that way. Okay. Because the frequency of, okay, here we go. Here's the explanation. Because the frequency of their existence has been tampered with and infected by the obsession and sadistic separation anxiety known as logic, and used consciously as a building cornerstone rather than wisdom. So we have been building with man's logic, man's reasoning, rather than wisdom's logic, or nature's logic, or natural logic, or womb logic. We've been building from that little head. Logic dictates competition. Whoa, that's a big one. Wisdom does not compete with anything, with any frequency. And there's a reason for that, because wisdom is all inclusive. There's nothing that wisdom is not a part of. There's nothing that wisdom is a part from. However, logic says it is no part of wisdom. Logic is competition. Logic has to compete with wisdom. If you were to look at that in a genre or gender, you would say patriarchy and divine feminine. The masculine has to compete with the feminine. The man has to compete with the female. Mars has to compete with Venus. Wisdom is all inclusive, meaning it has no need to compete with itself, because there is no point other than its own. No matter how many diverse angles, attitudes, or frequencies logic designs to prove its point of power and principality. And beloveds, that was so powerful, being that, you know how science and math and men want to come at you with this 99.999999999% of something, and their theories and their thises and their that. That has nothing to do with wisdom. Wisdom said this is what it is. You're pregnant. It's not your 9.9999999% pregnant. No, if you're pregnant, you're pregnant. You're not a little bit pregnant, you're pregnant. If you're a human being, you're a human being. You're not 0.4% human being and this, and this, and that. That is the difference between wisdom and logic. Logic will come at you from all kind of angles. That was the reference through Job and his friends and his wife. Very loving, very, very caring, wanting to help. Job just cursed God and died. Job, no. I'm not cursing God. No, if God says I got to suffer like this, then I'm just going to suffer because, hey, God gave me all of this. And if God gave it to me, God can take it away from me. But I'm not finna cuss God. And child, go on and cuss God. It's something you did. Go on and cuss. It's something you did. Just go on and give in and just die. Go on and give up. And Job was like, hell no. And God came and said, y'all, for telling Job all of that, y'all go get some stuff and get it sacrificed for y'all behalf, for y'all sins. And Job is going to pray to me on your behalf. And that is the only thing that's going to save your asses from the vengeance that I can wreak upon you, okay? Understand that, understand that, know that as a fact. And the same thing goes back with the story of Jesus when he was crucified. And the last breath, out of the last thing that he said was, forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do. You have to understand the wisdom shows us things in repetitive cycles. And the ages are repeating. This is, again, is the Aquarius age. It is an age of wisdom and knowledge being handed down. This is the race. The human race is in this marathon. It is passing the baton. It is passing the royal scepter to be able to put the female back on the throne where she deserves to be. Okay, here we go. Let's keep it moving. We're almost done. Yay. Okay. Wisdom gave birth. Okay. The answer will not change. So no matter how many different ways logic tries to come up and make sense out of something, or wants to change it, or say the computer is better than the human brain, or this robot I made is better than any human ever made. Wisdom, the answer will not change. Wisdom gave birth to existence. So no matter what logic makes or comes up with, it is never going to outdo wisdom, but it's always going to try to compete. Existence did not give birth to wisdom, simply because they cannot be divided. They are the same. Think of the Iron Giant, the cartoon, the movie. Also, X-Men, Jean Grey, and Cyclops. Jean Grey would represent wisdom, and Cyclops would represent logic. Play with it as much as you like. It will always reform itself into the wisdom that is existence. And that in itself is the law of paradox. We exist based upon universal laws. When logic dictates itself as superior, remind it using Job 38 of its true purpose is to serve, not to enslave. Because as a narcissistic frequency, logic tends to consciously forget itself. Thus, it is senile or senility or Alzheimer's. And dial down the 5G, go back to indigenous ways, rebuild from there. All inclusive, sacred, conscious awareness balance without competition. The earth will heal, regenerate as she has shown us. We kill ourselves with logic. That is the gift of the corona, which is the crown. Corona means crown. And you wear the crown to sit on the throne as a sovereign being. Upside, from logic to wisdom, from theories to facts. And I was told to remind you of the movie The Notebook. And in the movie The Notebook, you know that it was a love story. And the female in that book developed Alzheimer's. And she forgot who she was, and she forgot who her husband was, and what her life and her children were. And she would only remember in slivers and moments. And her husband came to live with her in the nursing home. And every evening he had wrote down in this book, and he would read from her this book and tell her story. And she would come back and she would remember. And in the end, she remembered who she was. She remembered that this was her in this story that he was reading from. And this so much reminds me of what Isis meant when she said, write down the laws, write down the wisdom, so that the children will know who they are. And this is the advice when you see in Egypt those words, know thyself. This is what that means. It means don't try to understand yourself from a logical point of view, because you're going to come with multiverses. You're going to come with so many 99.999 different ways and degrees to trying to understand and understand yourself, that you're going to miss the mother wit, which is the simplest form of yourself, that single digit before you get into those double digits and merge the different meanings of the numbers. So, beloveds, there's a lot in this one video, I know. And tomorrow what I will do is I will do the tarot reading that goes along with this video. I have a new tarot deck that was given to me by my niece. And I'll start it off with that one. And it's called the Spellcaster Tarot. So I've never cracked it open yet, but it's beautiful in looking at it. And so we'll go from there tomorrow. Again, thank you for listening. Namaste. And again, you can use this information to spread it. We are a collective. It does not belong to me. It was given and I handed off like the baton or the scepter so that we can all wear our throne, all wear our crowns and sit upon our thrones. Because as we each are able to rule and govern over ourselves and our own feelings and our own thoughts, the outside world, the outer world, will correlate with our visions and our views and our dreams for a better life, for a better existence for all, and for justice for all. Namaste, beloveds. Thank you. This is Mother Wit, Wisdom, Valerie Ames, Ocean Nine, and Sophia of Sheba, and 1,000,000,000 more. So, love you.